I've gone deep on this topic, and the topic is TikTok hate campaigns.
Oh, good.
I'm going to remind you that
they're not good.
Yeah. I'm going to remind you that you went to Harvard. Go on.
Well, I have become officially Mamamia Out Loud's tariffs correspondent and TikTok correspondent.
Yes.
So gather around. This all started a couple of days ago. There's a Netflix show called Too Hot to Handle.
Yes.
Where the contestants have to give up sex in order to win the cash prize.
Oh, Jessie would be across
That sounds, yeah.
There's a Canadian influencer who became famous from that show. Her name is Francesca Farrago. And she went on Snapchat earlier this week and she said she had been offered money to contribute to a trend on TikTok to hate on Hailey Bieber.
There's this trend going on around right now. I don't know if you guys have seen it, but it's basically everyone's calling themselves Hailey Bieber because they stalked their man or whatever, their man. It's funny, but it's also mean. And I didn't realize, so sometimes me and Jessie get paid to do a trend on TikTok. Like the person who started the trend or the person who owns the song that's on the trend will pay creators to do that trend. Whoever, either the song or who created it or someone else that wants to push a narrative, who knows, is paying creators to do that trend. Making fun of Hailey. And I think that is so mean.
Did we know that you get paid for a trend?
We thought, but we didn't know for sure. And now this has been confirmed. She said she was offered a good amount of money, but she declined it. And she pointed to a particular TikTok video that you might have seen, which is where people post a picture of Hailey Bieber, and then it has the caption, "My boyfriend thinks we met by chance." Now, what that is insinuating is that Hailey Bieber basically stalked Justin Bieber, her husband and father of her child, in order to get him to date her.
Right.
And the reason why this is a sort of third rail of the internet is because Bieber was in a 8-year relationship with Selena Gomez from 2010 to 2018. People shipped this relationship. It was called Jelena. What I also didn't realize is I knew Selena Gomez was popular on Instagram, but she has 421 million followers. Hailey, who has a very successful beauty brand and is everyone's style icon, has just 54 million.
Oh,
so it's really bringing a knife to a gunfight here.
Yeah.
The reason why I think that this has really struck a chord with a lot of people, in addition to the fact that these are very popular celebrities, is that it's showing how toxic our information environment has become and how even the most seemingly innocuous celebrity gossip tidbits have actually become part of manipulated campaigns to change the way we think about things. This is called astroturfing. You've probably heard about it when the Blake Lively It Ends With Us situation was happening. She claimed in a legal complaint that Justin Baldoni, who was her co-star in that movie, hired a crisis public relations expert to orchestrate a smear campaign against her. And then Amber Heard came out and said, oh, that was the same PR firm that orchestrated a hate campaign against me when I was in court with Johnny Depp. Meghan Markle's another perhaps victim of this same kind of orchestrated campaign. Now, what's interesting is to think about who's behind this. In the video, Francesca Farrago said that it can be the people who own the music that is used on the background of these trends who perhaps pay for the music to be played, or it can be perhaps PR firms, as it was in the Blake Lively case. In this case, we don't know who's behind it. We do know that Justin has been seemingly shading Selena on social media recently.
But this, no offense, but the limit of what I know about this is I follow Justin Bieber on Instagram, and I'm not sure he's aware of what he's doing on social media at the moment.
No, he may not be, and he has a quite well documented and public challenges with mental health that date back many years. But look, I do have to say that he posted a picture about a week ago, which was a photo of Gollum, and it had the caption, "Girls when they get engaged," and it had Gollum with his ring from Lord of the Rings looking covetous.
She's just got engaged.
She just got engaged to Benny Blanco last December, and I think he's spiraling a little bit because of that.
Wow.
Anyway, I'm not so much here to talk about Justin Bieber's mental health, though I think that is an interesting story as well. Did you have any idea that we were being manipulated to quite this extent on topics that are seemingly not very important to manipulate people's thoughts on? Does it blow your mind?
It does, because it seems obvious when you go, all right, we know that governments that politics have exploited algorithms
Yes.
for their own. Like we know that to be true.
That started in 2016 with the Cambridge Analytica scandal.
Yes, exactly. And I read recently that there's no such thing as an organic algorithm, and that kind of blew my mind because I see that's the argument for a lot of the Blake Lively versus Justin Baldoni, and regardless of where you sit on that, a lot of people go, no, organically everyone hates Blake. And it's like, I'm not saying that you as an individual don't hate Blake Lively. I totally believe that you as an individual resent that woman. What I'm trying to say is that your facts and the apparatus by which you've made up your mind may be slightly confected.
Of course, yeah.
I think that the music point is a really interesting one because the music industry is not in a good place. Obviously, album sales, all the metrics by which they, used to grow an artist have evaporated, and now it's just TikTok. And if you have a song go viral on TikTok, it changes your life overnight. You can be like international stardom. So part of me is going, clever. If I was working in A&R in music, I would be going to big TikTok creators and saying, I'll give you a few $1,000s to use this song in the background. But the way that that TikTok works is that song has to be associated with a trend.
Yeah.
And so you need it to be like, what's something really relatable or something that someone sitting on their couch in any corner of the world could then jump on. And there are certain celebrities who are lightning rods, and Hailey Bieber has always been one. And I think
Why do we think that?
Selena Gomez, so she was Disney. The parasocial relationship between people who grew up with Selena Gomez on their screens. Then she dates Justin Bieber and they love her. You said how many Instagram followers she has? One of the most followed celebrities in the entire world. She's a singer, actress, lots and lots of things.
Beauty line,
incredibly successful. Then Justin Bieber, for whatever reason, we're never going to know, ends up dating Hailey Bieber, which is not a crime. The thing about Hailey is that people don't really have a parasocial relationship with her.
She's a model. Like
she's a model.
She's more of a blank canvas.
She's a blank canvas. So we can project anything onto her angular features that we want. We can just look at her and go, yeah, looks like a bitch. Because we've never felt like we know her. And so there's this 7-part documentary, this thing that's come up online which is all about the allegation that she stalked and whatever Justin Bieber. They met when Hailey Bieber was because she was Hailey Baldwin, so she's a relation to, I think, the niece of Alec Baldwin. But she met Justin Bieber when she was very young, and there's a photo of them meeting. And then there's like, oh, she trapped him and, now they're married or whatever. They have a baby now. Like, let them be. But the hate, I think that Hailey Bieber would be one of the most hated women on the internet.
So do you think it matters? So your point about how obviously all artists want their songs on TikTok because that's the metric of success now. Does it matter if your song is associated with something really negative?
Absolutely not. All it means is that your song's probably on steroids.
Yeah.
So
That's
I think
the attention economy. It no longer matters.
It doesn't matter at all because it's just I've heard it and then I'll listen to it and stream it on Spotify or whatever. What you want is for, I lay in bed sometimes next to Luca and I hear the same song over and over and over and over again, and it becomes an earworm.
And this is why the ongoing situation in the US as to whether TikTok is going to be banned is so live, because what's happening is the US government is trying to find a buyer for TikTok, which was started by a Chinese company and which is now owned by a conglomerate which includes Chinese interests. They want to find an American buyer for TikTok, and that way they can keep TikTok live in America. Half of Americans use TikTok. It's very important. But at issue is the algorithm. So if there's an American buyer for TikTok, they're not going to get the proprietary algorithm from the Chinese TikTok creators. And without the algorithm, TikTok becomes kind of useless.
Yeah. It's the most addictive technology ever created because of that algorithm, which is kind of top secret to a degree.
But I've heard that our friend Jeff Bezos might be buying it. That's one of the rumours I heard this week. Maybe he will shoot it into space. That would be, all of our worlds would be better for it. But surely there are many great Americans.
How do you shoot an algorithm,
Exactly.
if only?
It doesn't make any sense what I just said, but I stand by it. Surely there are great American brains who could copy this algorithm now. Surely
They haven't done it
I
yet.
know, it's amazing that it has been so. But back to Hailey Bieber.
7-part documentary.
My question is, and I know we had this conversation around the Blake Baldoni situation, which has taken many twisted turns since we last discussed it. And when I was reading about this today, you can go and read the original court documents in the Baldoni Lively case and make up your own mind from the source material. But who's going to do that? So you can just keep scrolling on TikTok as they do. But why does this lesson that we keep being taught, Amber Heard, Blake Lively, Meghan Markle, like now Hailey Bieber, why does this lesson, we keep learning it and then just like the same way our attention span on TikTok is like minuscule, we're just like next thing, then we just forget about it.
But that's because
and then it comes back and we go, oh, imagine maybe everybody doesn't really hate Hailey Bieber. And then we're like,
But that's the power of the algorithm. So Jessie said that people say, no, I just personally hate Blake Lively. I'm different from all the other people who also hate Blake Lively. I think that's why this story is so scary to me, because if people's thinking can be manipulated this easily about Hailey Bieber, that has implications for our politics too. It means that it's really easy to get people to change their minds or to form an opinion about someone or something that they know nothing about.
And it's like, we've lost all sense of stakes and importance. Like people are forensically going through Selena Gomez lyrics, because they're like, no, she referenced this in this song, and then she said this. They're the sort of Easter eggs that people are looking out for.
And we're also obsessed with, like, Selena Gomez, as far as I can see, she's happy. She's engaged to this guy. They've got an album out
really
together.
nice.
She's living her best life. Hailey Bieber's got, just back off, everybody. Why are we so invested in everybody's relationships being so much worse than they appear on the surface?
What I've found interesting, the latest in this story, is that it looks like Hailey Bieber is considering legal action, which people generally don't do for a defamation or for these sorts of things. I think the more people push back, and I can understand why you wouldn't want to, because if you pursue defamation, then they search for the truth and things about you might come up that aren't necessarily flattering. Like, I completely understand why people resist. But her kind of going, this is enough. The misinformation, the smear campaign against me is enough. And she was remember, actually, in the Justin Baldoni Blake Lively thing, Justin Baldoni used a picture of Hailey Bieber and said, do this. Do this. This is what we have to do. That's how much this is on steroids.
Women, I just feel like the general misogyny, and I mean women's own internalized misogyny, is just being weaponized to an extent that we're just not aware of. Like, because it's women who love to hate Hailey Bieber. It's women who love to hate on Blake Lively. It's so depressing.
But it's also a bit of a lesson in how to use social media if you are a celebrity, because you asked, why do people hate Hailey so much, Holly? And I think that part of this is that Selena has always been messy on social media. Yeah. So just quite recently, she spoke out against Trump's deportations in a tearful story, and then she pretty much shook it down immediately. I mean, that was very notable. Barely any celebrities have spoken up about what's happening politically in the US, but she did. And then previously, she's made clear that sometimes she thinks Taylor Swift, her longtime friend, has sort of excluded her from social gatherings. She's left passive-aggressive comments on Taylor's Instagram posts to that effect. Hailey has a much more controlled persona, and it goes along with her more kind of Nepo baby, patrician look and aesthetic, and that's her whole allure, is really that she's a little bit untouchable, unknowable, and she doesn't share as much as Selena does. I remember that she announced that she and Justin were engaged. He announced on Instagram, but she was on the cover of a magazine. Such an old school way of sharing that news. So I think there's also an issue here about how you create parasocial relationships and how you build followings in the internet age. And if you choose not to play that game, sometimes I think it's easier for people to superimpose a narrative onto you.